thank you so much, ladies, for coming on tonight. I wanted to talk about women's health tonight from a perspective of being active women. I wanted tonight, so that the first half, an awful lot of it is just going to be about how the body works and how the body changes throughout our ages. I suppose as women, our bodies are constantly changing. We have very busy, active lives. So I want you to come away from today with hopefully a few tips about the pelvic floor, but also a few tips about what you can do for yourself to keep yourself healthy as the years go on. Okay, I also want you to understand the role of the pelvic floor and the role of breath, and how breath and pelvic floor tie us all in together. I suppose with us as women, we know that our quality of life is very determined by our pelvic floor. And when we have good pelvic floor, we have good back health, we have good tummy health, we have good bowel and bladder health, we're not afraid to go places, we have healthy sexual function. Whereas if we have any dysfunction in our pelvic floors, it does tend to affect the whole chain. I think as well as women, I think it's not a topic that we openly discuss. You know, we're very good now about talking about everything else, but we need to get into the nitty gritty a little bit more. If there's any sensitive topics for you, please feel free to leave. It's absolutely okay. I know some of these topics mightn't be the nicest to talk about. So the second half are going to be female specific exercises. Okay, so very often it's very important that small exercises as women often mean more. So the exercises that we're doing, okay, I have a pelvis here, I'll show it to you later. Very often when we do exercises, I like to think about it that it's almost like tying a shoelace. So the exercises that we're going to be doing today are going to be working from the inside out. So we're putting everything in from the inside. So when you're doing the exercises, they start at easy and they go on to advanced. So I want you even to just do one or two easy ones, stop and think about it, and not necessarily do all the exercises. They will be recorded, so you can always work down them later on. If you've had a history of back pain, if you have sore hips, or if you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, don't do the exercises where your legs come up off the floor, but you can watch, okay? So please feel free to ask any questions. You can ask them anonymously if you wish. There's no topic off limits, okay? At the end of it, I'm going to show you the pelvic floor. I'm going to show you the different muscles, and hopefully we can answer some of your questions that you may not want to ask normally, okay? So give it a go, and I will see you in about 45 minutes again, okay? Mind yourselves, take it easy, and take in the information.
Hi, my name is Amy Walsh, and I'm a physiotherapist and a kayaker from West Cork. I have been a practicing physiotherapist for 25 years, and over the 25 years, one of the areas that I have taken an awful lot of interest in is in the area of women's health and supporting women to try and exercise all the way through their lifespan. One thing about us as women, and if you compare it to our male counterparts, if you think to your male partner or your brother or your dad, basically their shape hasn't changed from when they were 18 till they were 80. Yes, they may have put on a few pounds, and yes, they may have gone out a bit in the front and back in, but in general they haven't changed. As women, throughout our lifespan, we go through immense changes. The first major change that we have is around the areas of teenagers. When we're teenagers, our hips change shape, and that affects our knees, but also we start to get weight at the front with breast development. And then of course all the emotional issues of being a teenager can affect how we grow and change, and a lot of people give up sport at that age. We're fine then in our 20s, we tend to be pottering along, and then pregnancy comes along. So pregnancy, we get weight changes in the front, we get changes to our pelvic floors, again we get heavy breast development, and then we have labour and delivery, whether it's vaginal or whether it's through a cesarean section, which affects our tummy muscles and affects our pelvic floor muscles. After pregnancy then and delivery, we are in sustained positions. We are feeding a baby, we are putting buggies into boots, we are lifting into cots. It is a very, very physical time in our lives. Then as soon as we think we're over pregnancy, we have toddlers who are wriggling and putting them into car seats, and then there may be a second or a third pregnancy, and so the in and the out and the forward and back changes happen. Then what happens is we have kids running around, we're going to matches, we are doing school runs, and we do lose time for ourselves. And then what happens is the kids start to leave home, and then we start to enter into the menopause. So when we enter into the menopause again, we get an awful lot of changes. We get weight gain around the middle, which can have effect on our pelvic floor muscle and also on our tummy muscles. We also get changes in our connective tissue, which is the tissue around our joints and the tissues around our in our muscles. And what this can do is that this can make us very sensitive to aches and pains that may have been there before. So we can get more knee pain, more hip pain, more back pain. And we also have normal age-related muscle changes occurring. So throughout our lifespan, we have ups and downs, and we have ins and outs, and we have there's a very physical toll on our bodies. Add into that then the fact that some of us like to go over waterfalls, or that we like to do 20 or 30k sea kayak trips. We are hauling big sea boats. We are rescuing boats over our decks. So on top of what the normal population do, we are adding quite a substantial physicality on top. Okay, so what I want today's workshop to be about is I want to go through the basics. I want to educate you on what you need to know to keep yourself strong throughout your lifespan. Okay, and then we're going to do a little bit of a workout then on top, but I want you to just do what works for you. What's more important that I want you to take home today is the body parts that are most affected, and what you can do to help yourself. But I also want you to take home the message that as women, you need to find an exercise for you, be it Pilates, be it yoga, be it swimming, something that's low key and low impact that helps you to connect with your body so that you can feel the changes that are happening and you can adapt to them happening as we're going along. Okay, so when you're ready, get yourself comfortable. We're going to start off nice and slow. What we're starting with may feel a little bit simple, but I want you to really grasp the basics, and these are what I want you to incorporate into your daily life when you're sitting in the car, or when you're pitch side, or when you're match side, or even when you're waiting for the shuttle, that you just think of these very simple principles, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to put your hands onto your ribs. The most important thing that we have is our breath. And our breath is very linked to our abdominal muscles, and it's very linked to our pelvic floor muscles. It's also very linked to our mood, and it's also very linked to our stress reactions, okay? And it's also very linked to our immune system. So just put your hands on the bottom of your ribs. Your ribs are an awful lot lower down than where you think they are. Your ribs are way down just above your belt line. That's how far your lungs go. So just close your eyes. Breathe into the front, back and side of your lungs, and exhale out. Breathe into the front, back and side of your lungs, and exhale out. Front, back and side of your lungs, and exhale out. And rest. Now, lay your hands gently on your tummy. So your first principle today is your breath. Okay, so when we're stressed or when we're rushing and racing, we breathe up into the top of our neck. When we breathe into the top of our neck, we use these small muscles and we breathe a lot faster. It's not as energy efficient because all our blood vessels are down in the very bottom of our lungs. Well, the majority of blood vessels are down the bottom. So when you breathe deep, you better oxygenate your blood, but you also use bigger muscles so these don't get as tired, and it has an automatic effect on dampening down an awful lot of our anxiety or our pain systems in the body. Okay, so let's do that again. Front, back and side of your lungs. Exhale out. Front, back and side of your lungs. Exhale out. Front, back and side of your lungs. Exhale out. Well done. Okay, now I want you to put your hands on your tummy. So as women, we're very conscious of our tummy area. So my diaphragm has fibers that is linked to my tummy muscles. So when I do my big deep breaths, by activating my tummy, my breath, I also activate my tummy. So we're going to go through some exercises now that you can do when you're walking or when you're sitting, that you can get a tummy muscle workout, okay? So just lay your hands on your tummy. Now, I want you to breathe in And I want you to blow out as though you're blowing out 20 candles. And breathe in. Blow out as though you're blowing out 30 candles. And I want you to feel that the more you start to blow out, the more you start to feel your tummy start to contract under your hands. Okay? Breathe in and out. And breathe in. 100 candles. And rest. We can get dizzy when we do this, that's normal. So when we activate our diaphragm quite hard, we activate our tummy muscles, okay? So when you're walking, when no one's around, or when you're driving, just start doing the big blowing out and feel your tummy muscles start to activate, okay? By changing how we do our breath, we can also give our tummy muscles a workout. Put your hands back on your tummy again. I want you now to do a hiss. We've all done the phonics, the snake in the grass. So when you're ready, breathe in. Hiss. Feel your lower abs work. Let's go again. Breathe in. Hiss. Feel your abs working. Really simple, really effective. The third one doesn't work for me, but it might work for some of you. And it's doing a ha. So just breathe in. Ha. It doesn't work for me, but try it yourself. So, and ha. And feel your tummy muscle working. Excellent. Okay. So the first principle is our breath and the connection that that has to our tummy muscles. Okay. So if you take nothing from today, take big deep breaths and take your blowing out or taking your hissing, and you're already starting to work your really deep core muscles. Okay. Now, fibers from our abdominal muscles are very linked to our pelvic floor muscles. Okay. So what I want you to do now is I just want you to close your eyes. I want you to visualize your pelvic floor, and I want you to take lots of big deep breaths in, as deep as you can, and I want you to blow out. So feel your sitting bones. Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so what I want you now to start to understand is that our diaphragm is linked to our deep tummy and it's linked to our pelvic floor. Why is this important? Okay, so this is our pelvis. Okay, my pelvis is a big muscle. My pelvic floor muscle are a big muscle that sits at the very bottom of my pelvis. So if we look at our very problematic spine here, what we see is that at the end of our body, my balloon, is a big hole, okay? And what is down here in this big hole is our pelvic floor muscles. And these are like the foundation of a house. So these pelvic floor muscles are the foundation here that all our abdominal organs sit in. So when I run or when I eat a big meal, these pelvic floor muscles keep everything up and in my body. Okay, so how big are your pelvic floor muscles? Let's try something. So sit on the floor, sit in your chair cross-legged, okay? I want you to close your eyes when you do this so that you can really feel the pelvic floor and the importance of them, okay? So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to bring your weight all the way back onto your tailbone, okay? That's where your pelvic floor starts. Now I want you to come forward all the way until you feel the bone at the front. That's your pubic bone, okay? And that's where the pelvic floor ends. So your pelvic floor is an absolutely huge muscle from the front to the back, okay? Now, I want you now to bring your weight over onto your right sit bone. That's where it starts there. And now I want you to bring your weight all the way over onto your left sitting bone, okay? So now come forward onto your sit bone or your pubic bone. Come right onto your right sitting bone. Come back onto your tailbone. Come left onto your left sitting bone and come all the way forward again onto your front pubic bone. That is how big our pelvic floor muscles are. They are huge, okay? So their job is to keep everything supported and upright. However, there is one design flaw with the pelvic floor, and that is that it has 3 openings. So because it has 3 openings, all of a sudden we have a weakness. No, so I have my balloon here with me. Okay, so our pelvic floors change throughout our age. Okay, so as women, we need, this is a muscle like our tummy muscle, like our bum muscle, like our biceps, that we need to be working and that we need to be exercising. We're all told to do pelvic floors and we're all told to do Kegel exercises, but nobody actually tells you how to do them perfectly. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do pelvic floor exercises. And I know those of you who are young are going to be thinking, I don't need to do this. And those of you at the other end of the spectrum are thinking, I should have done this years ago. Our pelvic floor muscles, as kayakers, how many of us have been going on a trip and not stopped for a coffee because we didn't want to have to change out of our dry suit? How many times has the paddle been ruined because we've been sitting in the boat thinking, when are we going for lunch, when are we going for lunch, when are we going for lunch, can I get my dry suit? So as women, we need to have control of our pelvic floor muscles if we want to continue kayaking. We don't want risk of leaking, or we don't want risk of not being able to get your wetsuit off in time to go to the loo. We don't want to have to be going for wilder peas. We want to be able to control our pelvic floor. That's the first reason. The second reason is a strong and healthy pelvic floor is really important for your back, and it's also really important for your hips. And as we get older, it's really important when it comes to our balance and our healthy aging. One of the things that happens with pelvic floor is that pelvic floor also has a huge impact on our self-esteem, and it has a huge impact on our quality of life. So as much as possible, we need to be in cue with our pelvic floors, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to do some very gentle pelvic floor exercises. They're slightly different to what you have done them before, but I want you to take the message home and I want you to really try and do it, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is, so now we've identified where the floor is, we know where it starts at the back and we know where it starts at the front. So like I said, the design flaw is that there's 3 openings. So we need every opening to be nice and strong and tight, okay? So one of the things that happens is if we have had children or as we approach menopause because of normal age-related weakness, the muscles can get weak, but other muscles instead can jump in to try and help them. And our adductor muscles, our muscles in here, in our inner thighs, can jump in to take up the role of the pelvic floor muscles. Other muscles that can jump in to take over are our bum muscles, okay? So when we're doing the next few exercises, I want you to keep your hands on your inner thigh to make sure that you're not flicking your inner thigh. I want you to make sure that your bum isn't clenching, and I also want you to focus that you're not holding your breath, okay? So now we spoke about the pelvic floor, now we found out where they are. We're going to come back to what we did at the start, okay? So sitting, feel both sitting bones under you, visualize your tailbone, visualize your pubic bone. I want you to breathe all the way in. As you breathe in, feel your sitting bones open, and as you exhale, feel your sitting bones contract. So my diaphragm, with my tummy muscles and pelvic floor, it acts like a jellyfish, okay? So when I do my deep breath, okay, my abdominal muscles lift up my pelvic floor, and then as I then I get my relaxation then. So by breathing into breathing nice and deep, we get tummy muscle work and we get pelvic floor work, okay? So what that means is that every time we do big deep breaths, it's lifting up our floor because we want our floors lifted up, okay? And down. Now, one thing that happens with our pelvic floor is that as women, we tend to hold tension in a few different areas. We hold it in our shoulders, we hold it in our back muscles. We also hold tension in our pelvic floor muscles. And an awful lot of women have more issues with tension in the pelvic floor as opposed to weak pelvic floor, but it's something that we don't talk about. This can lead to constipation and it can lead to issues in the bedroom as well, okay? So I want you to close your eyes, okay? And we're just going to go through a few big deep breaths, okay? So I want you to breathe in, feel your sitting bones open, exhale, feel your sitting bones come back together again. One more time, inhale, now exhale. Okay, I want you to make a fist. I want you to put on a really cross face. Okay, my 3 teenagers just walked through my kitchen floor in their mucky football boots after I washed it. Okay, so make a really cross face. Okay, and now I want you to feel your pelvic floor. And now take a few big deep breaths in and feel how your pelvic floor and your sitting bones aren't moving. Okay, so if you have had a hard day, or if you've had a row, or if you're tense, your pelvic floor is also going to tighten up. Okay, so that means that you're not getting movement around your hips and pelvis. Okay, and now relax again. Now, soft fingers, a big smile on your face. The kids have actually swept and washed the floor and put the boots somewhere to dry and put the dirty clothes in the washing machine. Aren't they so well trained? Okay, now with a big smile on your face. Now, feel your pelvic floor, feel the difference in your floor. Feel how it's softer, feels how it feels lighter. Now, with a big smile on your face and big happy hands, take a big deep breath in and exhale out. Smiley face and out. Okay, so a happy face is a happy floor. So we need to be able to relax our pelvic floor. Okay, so everything is connected. Our face is linked to our breath, is linked to our tummy, is linked to our pelvic floor. Okay, so now we know all that, let's start to work a little bit deeper. Okay, I want you to imagine that you have a glass in front of you with a straw and you've got coloured liquid in the straw. Okay, I want you to breathe in. No one's looking at you, so you can do this. So really put the effort into it. So breathe in. As you breathe out, I want you to imagine that you're sucking up the coloured liquid through your front passage, okay? Remember I said about the inner thighs working, and I want you to suck the coloured liquid up the straw. I want you to hold the liquid up the straw while you keep breathing, okay? Now very slowly, let the liquid come down the straw. If there is liquid still in the straw, you're holding a bit of tension in your pelvic floor. Okay, if the liquid hasn't gone down, do a big smiley face, exhale and watch the liquid come down. Okay, I'm going to do a few of these. This is how we work the front of our pelvic floor without the cheek muscles like your inner thighs or like your bum muscles working. Okay, so when you're ready again, your glass of liquid with a straw at your front passage. Inhale. As you exhale, suck the liquid up the front passage while you keep breathing. Hold the liquid in the straw. Hold it there while you keep the breath going and while you keep everything soft. Inhale. As you exhale, let the liquid come down the straw again. Super. One more time. Inhale. As you exhale, suck the fluid up the straw. Bring it all the way up. Lovely. Hold it up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale and hold. Exhale. Lower it down. If the fluid hasn't gone down, breathe in. Smiley face, lots of blowing out, lots of breath out, letting your tummy flop and letting the pelvic floor flop. Excellent, okay? The letting go is as important as the contracting. We need to be able to do that 10 times for 10 seconds, okay? Now let's move to the back passage, okay? Imagine you have the most beautiful, coloured, delicate egg, okay? I want you to breathe in. As you breathe out, I want you to very delicately suck the egg up your back passage, okay? I want you to hold the egg there without breaking it, without cracking it, hold it really gently. Now breathe in. As you breathe out, let the egg come out really, really slowly. If you feel you haven't fully passed the egg, you could be holding tightness there. Inhale, smiley face, and blow out, let everything relax. Excellent. Okay, let's do that one more time. Inhale. As you exhale, without using your thighs, soft breath, suck the egg up your back passage really delicately. Hold the egg there as delicately as you can. Keep the breath going. Again, we're aiming for 10 times, 10 seconds. Keep it going. Breathe in. As you breathe out, very gently pass out the egg. If you feel you haven't passed it fully, you could be holding tension. Inhale. As you exhale, blow out. Smiley face. Let everything pass. Excellent. Marvelous. Okay. So that's our lovely slow muscles. Really important. More important, if you have had stitches, if you have around menopause, we get a lot of tightness in our vagina. So around those times, particularly, work at the relaxation. Okay. Those of you who may have tried pelvic floors and said they didn't work for you may have been doing your inner thigh and maybe squeezing your bum. Okay. It's never too late to do your exercises. Our exercises work two ways. The first way is slow. Okay. And they work slow so that as we eat and as our bowel fills, our bladder fills, that they can be strong to hold what's coming. The second way they work is they work fast. So, you know, when you go to jump on a trampoline, or you know, when you go to laugh, or you go to sneeze, or you go to cough, the muscles need to kick in really fast, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to work our muscles. Don't worry about the breath with this one, okay? We're going to work our pelvic floor muscles like a light switch, okay? So we're going to turn the muscles on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. What you're going to find is, again, it's 10 times, you're going to find that you're probably going to feel like, and then they're not going to be working towards the end, okay? But you aim for that. So when you're ready, breathe in. As you breathe out, pelvic floor muscle on, off, 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 on, off. Excellent. Ladies, these are the muscles that get you for the next drink before you have to go to the loo, are the ones that get the key in the door, okay? Now, the third thing is that we need to talk about is a thing called deferment, okay? So what we have seen now is we have seen that if we are tense, things get worse when we hold our breath, okay? When we get urges to go to the loo, okay, it's quite healthy to be able to control the urges, okay? So, you know, you see the beach and you know there's a rock over there that you can get to, and the pelvic floor thinks, woohoo, I'm ready to go now, and you say, no, hang on a second here. So when we get urges to go to the loo, like when you put the key in the front door and you're trying to get in, or you're trying to get the shopping out of the boot, or you're paying for the shopping in Super Value, and you know you need to go to the loo before your long drive home, and your body is saying, I need to go now. An urge, in West Cork, we say that the urge to go to the loo lasts the length of a Hail Mary. Okay, so what that means is that when you get the urge to go to the loo, right, it lasts a certain time period, right? So when it has alarmed at you, and then it will ease off again. So it's really important that when you get this urge, okay, you know, that you're able to, okay, this is going to go in a minute, and then I can calmly resume what I'm doing and go, okay? So it's quite important to be able to train your bladder that when you need to go, hang on a second, I'm in control, okay? Let me get this dry suit off, please, okay? So the other thing as well is your fluids. So very often when we are going on a trip, or if we are out paddling, we don't drink because we don't want to be able to stop. But what happens is it's actually a fallacy, okay? So the color of your flow is actually quite important. So if your flow is quite concentrated, so if you're not drinking or you haven't had the drink, well, coffee is different, if you haven't had the drink going, okay, and if your urine is concentrated, it is going to act as a bladder irritant, and you are going to have to go to the loo an awful lot more, okay? So it is good to keep drinking and to keep the fluids going, okay? So that's our breath, that's our tummy, that's our pelvic floor, okay? Now, the last thing we're going to talk about is our muscles that we call our obliques. When we're pregnant, okay, or if we have had a lot of breathing up into our shoulder blades, a lot of our ribs at the bottom can flare. So those of us who carried babies, a bum would have been under one rib, and the hips would have been under the other rib. And as part of the natural adaptation process for us to carry children, our ribs flare a little bit, okay? So what this does is it can lengthen some of our muscles. But what happens is that unless you see women's health physio, unless you go to Pilates or yoga, you never really draw down these muscles. And these are really important for our tummy strength. And they're really important for us as paddlers because they are what we call our oblique muscles. And these are really powerful rotation muscles, and these are what we need to get our roll. This is why sometimes people who've had sections find it very hard to roll, or ladies who've had quite large babies never feel that they have their power back as we work on our oblique muscles. So when you're ready, I want you to find your right rib, find your left hip, find your left rib, find your right hip. It forms an X with your belly button in the middle, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to breathe in. And as you breathe out, okay, I want you to imagine you're tightening that X with your belly button in the middle. If you put your fingers to the side and if you hold between your ribs, you're going to feel that it's quite tense. And then and relax. Good. We'll do that again. So imagine it's an X, right rib, left hip, left rib, right hip. It forms an X with your belly button in the middle. Feel your fingers on both sides. Ladies, you know the sides spread over the jeans, the muffin top? This is a solution, okay? So breathe in. As you breathe out, just tighten the X. So imagine everything being drawn in, put your fingers in the side, and it feels lovely and solid. Super, and relax. Okay, well done. Now we've worked on those basic principles. We're now going to get down onto the mat. Okay, so what we're going to do in the mat is I'm going to start slow, and we're going to go harder and harder and harder. So you just do what works for you. Okay, and then there's no harm. If you feel back pain or backache, that could be your place to stop, okay? So I'm going to focus on small, deep mummy muscles, okay? Because as women, we don't need to be doing the smaller the exercise, the smaller the muscle, the more beneficial it is for us, okay? So when you're ready, let's go onto the mat. Okay, so when you're ready, just put your hands onto your tummy, okay? So breathe into the front, back and sides of your lungs and exhale out. Feel your tummy muscles contract. Breathe in. As you exhale, feel your tummy muscles contract. Now breathe in. As you breathe out, draw your belly button all the way down to the floor. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. You'll feel like a period cramp in your lower tummy. Keep breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Breathe in. As you breathe out, draw your belly button in. Bring it all the way in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Breathe in. As you breathe out, draw your belly button all the way in. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Last time, breathe in. As you breathe out, belly button in and hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and relax. Hands under the side of your ribs. Visualize this X. Right rib, left hip. Left hip, right rib. Inhale. As you exhale, draw your belly button in, tighten the X. If tightening the X doesn't work for you, imagine you're trying to stab your ribs into your top tummy. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. So what we're doing is we are pulling ourselves in like a good shoelace. We're pulling from the inside out, okay? If we just do sit-ups, we're working the top layer of muscle. We need to pull in from the inside like a good corset. Inhale. As you exhale, draw your belly button in, slide down your ribs. Now keep breathing. 1, make sure you're not breath holding. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Breathe in. As you breathe out, draw the belly button in, slide the ribs down, tighten your X, stab yourself with your ribs, feel the side of your tummy, feel how those muscles rock. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Excellent. Okay. Put your hands on your tummy. This exercise is very small, okay? Apart from the pelvic floors, this is probably the most important exercise that you're going to get today, okay? Do it lying down, do it sitting, do it standing. We call it pelvic clocks, okay? So put your hands on your tummy, spread your hands all the way out. I want you to imagine that 12 o'clock is your pubic bone, 6 o'clock is your sternum, 3 is your right hip, 6 is your left hip, and I'll have forgotten the numbers in about 2 minutes, so whatever clock you have in your head. I want you to imagine that you have a marble in your belly button, okay? I want you to breathe in. And as you breathe out, I want you to imagine that the marble is rolling under your right hand over towards your hip at 3 o'clock. I want you to hold the marble there and then very gently roll the marble back to the middle. And all you're going to feel is like a flicker under your fingers, okay? Let's go to the left. Breathe in. As you breathe out, a marble under your belly button, roll it over towards your left hip. Hold it there and back to the middle. If you have had back pain or if you have had stitches, whatever side you have that is the side that you are going to feel, I'm not sure if that's working. And that's where you have to yourself practice this in your own time, okay? Now we're going to come up to 6 o'clock. Your sternum. Breathe in. As you breathe out, roll the marble from your pubic bone up to your sternum. Bring it all the way up. Hold it up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Breathe in. As you breathe out, bring it up towards your sternum, all the way up. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll the marble back. Now we're going to roll the marble from your belly button down towards your pubic bone, number 12. Those of you who may have had a cesarean section or had any abdominal surgery are really going to struggle with this one, okay? But that's okay if you struggle because you know you have to do it. Inhale. As you exhale, roll the marble from your pubic bone down, or from your belly button down towards your pubic bone. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and release. Inhale. As you exhale, marble down to 12. Hold it there. Keep the breath going. If you're holding your breath, your body is finding this hard. And back. Marvelous. Okay, now let's play clocks. Okay, so now breathe in. As you breathe out, roll the marble to 7 o'clock. Lovely. Feel the flicker under your hand and back. Roll the marble to 5 o'clock under your hand and back. Roll the marble to 3 and back. Roll the marble to 8 and back. Roll the marble to 4 and back. Roll the marble to 2 and back and rest. Harder than what it looks, but really, really effective for your tummy muscles. Okay, the next one. Imagine that your pelvis is like a soup bowl, okay? Your left hand is one side of the bowl, your right hand is the other. Keeping your hands on your tummy without using your hips, just slosh the soup up to the left-hand side under your left hand. Now slosh the soup up to the right under your right hand and feel the tummy muscles rippling from side to side as you move the soup over, okay? So we can start belly dancing soon. Well done. From side to side, keep it going. It should just feel like a flicker under the hand. Marvelous. Now we're going to do roulette. From your pubic bone to your right pelvis, your sternum to your left hip. Imagine it's like a blackjack wheel, okay, with black and red and black and red. So I want you now to imagine that you're rolling the ball all the way around your pelvis, okay? So roll the ball from 12 to 3 to 6. Now, don't move your thighs. You just want the muscles rippling all the way around to the left and down. Keep it going. Feel the ripple going. If you feel that one of your legs is kicking into trying to help, well then that means that you might have a bit of tummy weakness around that area that could be linked to back pain on that side. So focus on that area. Don't let the leg jiggle to help, okay? Let's keep it going around and around. Now change direction. So you're going from 12 to 9 to 6 to 3. Keep it going all the way around. 12, 9, 6, 3. Excellent. And all the way back. Marvelous. Okay, let's take the tempo up a little bit. Okay, this is your basic core exercise. This is what you need to be doing deep down to get everything pulled in and sucked in nice and tight, our mommy muscles, okay? Now, as women, we don't do sit-ups, so this is the way we do our sit-up. Okay, I breathe in. As I exhale, my chin comes onto my chest. I pull my ribs to my hips. I reach for my knees. My eye level doesn't go past my knees. Inhale at the top and exhale, lower down. Inhale. On my exhale, belly button in, chin on chest, ribs to hips, reach for my knees. My eyes don't pass my knee level. Inhale at the top and exhale down. Let's keep it going. Inhale. As you exhale, belly button in, chin on chest. Pull your ribs to your hips, look at your knees. Inhale at the top, exhale down. If it hurts your neck, put your hands behind your head, pull your elbows in. Inhale at the top, chin on your chest, ribs to hips, come up to look at your knees. Eyes don't go past the knees. Inhale at the top and exhale down. Okay, those of you who want to work harder, let's add pulses. Inhale, as you exhale, chin on your chest, come up to look at your knees, pulse at the top. 1, 2, and down. We're going to 6. Inhale, come up to look at your knees, pulse twice. 1 or 3, 2, 3, and down. And 4, chin on your chest, come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and down. Let's go to 5. Come on up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and down. And 6, coming all the way up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go to 8. And if you have neck pain, stop. And 7, 1, pulse, 2, and 3. And ribs to hips, 4, ribs to hips, 5, 6, 7. Last one for 8, coming all the way up. And 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Super job. Have a rest. Okay, let's start working on tabletop. So tabletop is lovely. They're a really fast way to strengthen up your spine. If you have a history of back pain, mind yourself, okay? Hands on your tummy. Inhale. As you exhale, draw your belly button in. Take one leg to tabletop. Hold it there as you keep breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lower. Other side. Inhale. As you exhale, draw your tummy in. Take your right leg to tabletop. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lower. Inhale. As you exhale, left leg up. Hold it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lower. Other leg. Tummy in. Take the leg to tabletop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and lower. Marvelous. Okay, so when we do this exercise, our spine should stay on the mat. Okay, so if your back arches, it's probably a little bit too hard for you. So if your back arches, stop here and just watch. Okay, so if your back stays level on your mat, well, then you're okay to continue. Inhale. As you exhale, take one leg up. Inhale. On the exhale, take the second leg up, ankles and knees together. We call this tabletop, okay? So holding this position here, make sure your back stays firmly planted against the mat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower one leg. Inhale, hold. Exhale, lower the other leg. Inhale. As you exhale, one leg up. And inhale. As you exhale, take the second leg up, both legs held in place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now we're going to do some toe tapping, only if your spine stays down. We're going to tap for the count of 10. 1, exhale, tap. Exhale, 2. Exhale, 3. 4. 5. Keep your back down. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale and hold. Exhale, lower one leg. Inhale and hold. Exhale, lower the other leg. When you're ready, inhale. As you exhale, take one leg to tabletop. Inhale. As you exhale, take the second leg to tabletop. Now, when you're ready, hands behind your knees. Inhale. As you exhale, chin on your chest, ribs to hips. Come up to look at your knees. Eye contact stays below your knees. When you're ready, two hands behind your left knee. Excuse me. Lengthen your right leg away and switch. Grab your right leg, lengthen your left leg away. You're keeping your ribs pulled towards your hips and switch. And exhale, lengthen. Inhale, return. Exhale, lengthen. Inhale, return. Let's do this for 10 more. And 10. And 9. And 8. Keep your back in. And 7. And 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. And 2. And 1. Give your knees a hug. Lovely. And roll your knees from side to side. Excellent job. Super. Okay, When you're ready, we're going to go again. So we're going to make them harder and harder, okay? So when you're ready, take one leg to tabletop, take the second leg to tabletop. Keep your back down, hands behind your knees. Inhale. As you exhale, chin on your chest, come up to look at your legs, okay? This time, straighten both legs. Ignore my hamstrings, okay? I'm going to point and lengthen my right foot. And then I'm going to switch and point and lengthen my left foot and switch. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knees a hug, and have a rest. Marvellous. Okay, we're going to work our oblique muscles now. So these are the muscles that were hanging over the side of the trousers when we tightened the X. These oblique muscles are very important to us as paddlers because they give us our rotational power, okay? Sorry, I'm suffering with a cold. Okay, so for the oblique muscles, okay, some people can go forever and never feel a burn. Some people do 2 or 3 and feel the burn, okay? So when you're ready, we take one leg to tabletop, we take the second leg to tabletop, we come up to look at our knees, hands behind the head. Now, I am taking my left nipple to my right knee, okay? So it's nipple to knee, lengthen the other leg and come back. Right nipple to left knee. And the reason I say that is if I said elbow to knee, you would move your arms. Have a try with both, okay? So nipple to knee, you really feel the burn. Elbow to knee, okay? So let's go for 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Marvellous. Give your knees a hug. Oh my goodness. Well done. And roll your knees from side to side. Excellent altogether. Okay, super stuff, okay? Okay, now when you're ready then, we're going to continue on. So we're going to do, this exercise is quite hard. So if this is enough for you, don't be afraid to stop here, okay? So when you're ready, take one leg to tabletop, take the second leg to tabletop. A cue that you're able to do the exercise and there's not too much for you is if your back stays firmly planted on the mat, then you're okay. If your back arches, it is way too hard for you and don't do it, but you can work towards it, okay? So when you're ready, come up to look at your knees. So what I'm imagining is I have my hands by my head as though I'm wearing a hat, okay? My ribs are drawn to my hips, my eyes are at my knee level. I take off my hat as I lengthen my legs away, hands around, back to the knee. Take off my hat, hands around, back to the knee. Exhale, lengthen and around. And 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1 and back, and give our knees a hug. Marvellous job. Excellent stuff, okay? Lovely. One really important muscle group that we need to work as women is our bum muscles, okay? Our bum muscles post-pregnancy, we get the flat pancake butt, okay? And anybody who has recurring back pain, bum muscles are really important for rehabbing it, okay? So it's a really simple exercise that we do called shoulder bridging, and this is a really big, important bum exercise. Those of you who are prone to back pain or stiff back, this should be your first go-to exercise, okay? But do always get professional advice, okay? I want you to imagine that you have a line of grapes from your tailbone to the top of your shoulders, okay? I want you to breathe in, and as you breathe out, tailbone up to the ceiling. And I want you to take your, each joint off a grape, bone by bone by bone, until you're up in a nice straight line, squeezing your bum. Inhale at the top, and then as you exhale, coming down slowly, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Inhale. As you exhale, tailbone up to the ceiling, coming all the way up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull your knees over your second toe. If you get a hamstring cramp in this exercise, that can happen. It's a sign of weakness in the bum. Just
Put a ball between your knees and keep going. And then coming down slowly, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep going. Inhale. As you exhale, tailbone up to the ceiling, lengthen your knees away, coming all the way up, squeeze the bum. If it's too easy, you could lower and lift the hands. Okay, up and down. Or you can do bicep curls. You can get some weights. Okay, and up and down, and then lowering yourself down. Okay, next progression, only if you're happy. Okay, coming all the way up. I squeeze my left bum. My right leg comes to tabletop. I lengthen my leg. I lower and lift for 5. 1, left bum tight. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back to tabletop, lower it down, coming all the way down. Up again, exhale up, squeeze the right bum, left leg to tabletop, point the leg, up and down for 5. Keep the pelvis steady, don't let it drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Bend the knee, lower it down. Excellent job. Okay, up into a sitting position. Okay, well done, you're doing great. Super stuff. Okay, we're going to an exercise now called the half roll back. And if you have a ball, if you feel it's too tight into your hips, then maybe squeeze a ball or squeeze a towel or a cushion of some sort, okay? So what we're doing in this exercise is we are just giving our lower back area a stretch, okay? But what we're also doing is we're working these really deep tummy muscles again, because that's what the secret to everything is, okay? So we're going to sit, and you're going to sit on your sit bones, okay? Your hands are out in front, and with everything, it's lots of breath, okay? So imagine that there's a strawberry under your sacrum, you know your triangular bone just at the top of your bum crease, okay? So we're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, I want you to bend in the middle and slump, and come back so that your sacrum is squashing the strawberry. Breathe in. And then as you breathe out, tighten the X, right? Look at your knees, tighten the X to bring your head back over your knees and then straighten up. Do it slow. And then when you do it slowly, you really feel your tummy muscles, okay? If your shoulders are coming up, you may have gone too far. Breathe in. As you breathe out, slump in the middle, coming all the way back. Okay, to come up, tighten the X, pull your ribs towards your pubic bone, look at your knees, lengthen up. Let's keep it going, we'll do 5. Breathe in, as you breathe out, roll down, feel your tummy muscles, hold it there, inhale. On the exhale, tighten your ribs, nose to knees, lengthen up. Inhale at the top, exhale, roll back. Inhale, hold, ribs to hips, coming forward and up. And again, coming all the way down. Hold it, ribs over hips, look at your knees, coming all the way up. 2 more, rolling all the way down. Look at your knees, ribs to hips, coming all the way up. Last one, coming all the way down. Those of you who feel strong can lower and lift the arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ribs to pelvis and lengthen all the way up. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to go back to our obliques. Remember our strong power muscles, our big strong rotation muscles. Okay, so hands in front. Inhale. As you come back, your left hand is holding a rope. Your right hand is painting a line on the floor behind you. It comes all the way back to center. Tighten the X all the way up. Other side. Roll back. Right hand holding a rope. Left hand lengthens behind you. Comes all the way out in front. Ribs over hips. Lengthen up. Roll back. Right hand goes back behind. Comes all the way forward. Ribs over hips. All the way up. Rolling back on the left. Hand behind. Bringing it back. Ribs over hips. All the way up. Rolling back. Reach, reach, reach. Hold it if you wish. Bring it back. Nose to knees and up. Last one. Roll back on the left. Left hand back. Ribs to hips. Bring it forward. Nose over knees and lengthen up. Excellent. Let's do a nice stretch now after that. Okay, so this is a really beautiful lady stretch, okay?
So it's really important that, like with our neck muscles, that we stretch our pelvic floors. As women, one place that we get really prone to stiffness is what we call our thoracic spine. Okay, so our thoracic spine gets stiff because there are ribs attached, and the ribs go around in a circle from the front to the back. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stretch out our thoracic spine. And again, this is one of those that you put into your tool bag that you dig out whenever you feel that you have a niggle around your shoulder or your back area. Okay, this is a very strong exercise, so only do 1 or 2 of them. Pull back your fingers. Okay, you feel a tightness sensation in your fingers. That's the body's normal response to stretch. What I want you to feel is, when you exercise, it's okay to feel that sensation. Okay, if this thoracic area is stiff, we can get very prone to neck pain, or we can get very prone to low back pain. So it's really important that we keep this area mobile. The second thing is that as ladies, because we are aging a day every day, we don't want to be rounded old ladies. We want to be straight and, we want to keep ourselves tall and strong. So fold your arms, okay? Now feel the weight evenly in both sitting bones. I want your head forward, okay? So look ahead, don't move your eyes, okay? And very gently just turn your chest to the left, okay? Take it back to center. And now turn it to the right. Take it back to center. Take it to the left, back to center. Take it to the right and back to center. Now take your elbows up halfway. Soften the shoulders, drop the shoulders, head in front. And now you're going to feel it this time just under your bra strap area, okay? So a simple rule of thumb is, wherever the line the elbows are, you are moving from there down, okay? So this is really good if you've been driving a lot, or if you've been sitting at your computer a lot, okay? Hands up a little bit more, turn them to the right and back, and turn them to the left and back. Drop the shoulders and back. One more time, around and back. And those of you who wish then can go higher, get a lovely stretch. Well done. Back and down. Okay, lengthen your left leg in front. Put your right leg in beside your knee, okay? The nice thing with this exercise is that whatever leg is in this side bent position gives you a lovely pelvic floor stretch on that side. So inhale, 2 arms to the ceiling. As you exhale, flex forward and reach for your ankle, okay? So as you reach forward, then walk the hands down towards the ankle. Your inside hand points away from you. It points up to the ceiling. Watch it as it goes up and watch it as it goes back behind you. Breathe in. As you breathe out, the hand comes back up over your head and all the way back down. And again, reach the hand in front, up to the ceiling, over your head, all the way back. Inhale. As you exhale, over your head and all the way back. Now, put your right foot outside your left knee. The body loves rotation. The body loves being squeezed like a J-cloth. Put your left hand outside your right knee. Put your right hand behind you, spread open the fingers, hand planted down solid. Inhale. As you exhale, turn to look over your right shoulder. Breathe in, pull the knee towards you. As you breathe out, exhale. Lovely. And back. One more time. Breathe in. As you breathe out, look over your right shoulder. Lots of big deep breaths. Inhale. As you exhale, coming all the way back. Lovely. And change legs. Left knee bent, foot beside the knee. Inhale, arms to ceiling, reach forward. Walk the hands in front. Point the left hand in front. Point it away. Point it up to the ceiling. Watch it as it comes up and over and lengthens behind you. Breathe in. As you breathe out, reach up to the ceiling, coming back and all the way down. And again, walk the hands further in front. Reach the left hand in front. Bring it up to the ceiling. Watch it as it comes up and goes all the way back behind you. Breathe in. As you breathe out, over your head and all the way back. Now, left foot outside right knee. Left hand comes all the way back behind you. Right hand pulls left knee away. Breathe in. As you breathe out, turn to look over your left shoulder. Get a lovely stretch. Excellent. And back. And one more time. We love the J-cloth stretches all the way around. Stretch and come back and rest. Okay? So ladies, what I would like you to take home from this is, I would like you to take home that you need to focus on the small muscles, not the big muscles. You need to build strength from the inside out. You need to work on your breath, lots of big deep breath first of all, okay? Second of all, you want to work on your tummy, just even sitting, standing there. Bring your belly button back towards your spine, or inhale. As you exhale, draw your belly button like a zip up towards your ribs. You can do this anywhere, sitting in the car, brushing your teeth, doing the kids' homework, and relax. Our obliques, we breathe in, and as you breathe out, you tighten the X. Feel your side body muscles working. That's 3 layers of tummy muscles. Now you're working out of 4. Keep breathing and relax. Then the importance of the pelvic floor muscles, you need to stay on them all your life. Remember your coloured liquid up the front, your egg up the back, and then you have your light switch on and off for fast as well, okay? It's really important that you find something that you love in terms of exercise. I would really recommend that you have some exercise like Pilates or yoga or swimming that you do regularly so that you can feel any changes that you have in your body. If you're running around left, right and centre, you don't feel changes. Whereas if you're used to swimming 20 lengths or and some day doesn't feel right, well then you know that you can deal with it. Don't let things fester. If there's a problem, deal with it, okay? Pelvic floors, please deal with them, okay? Because they have such an impact on quality of life, they have such an impact on body image, and they have such an impact on relationships that if there is an issue, you need to deal with it, okay? So remember, a happy face is a happy floor.
That thoracic, that stretch is spot on. Having driven to Dublin and back today, that was perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, such a complete workout. Like yeah, I think we talk often about gender gap and where the gender gap exists. And just as I was reflecting during the workshop, that this is one area where it exists, is actually the understanding of the female body and having specific exercises delivered for the female body and easily accessible as well. And having that understanding of your body. I really liked your point at the end there where you were talking about find your exercise that you like, that moment, because that's your moment of connection with your body. That's when you get to tune in. That's when you get to know, okay, what's actually going on. And then I guess the big one for me is pelvic floor is forever after. There's no choice. So just before we take some questions, you wanted to add a little bit at the end here that you talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, I just wanted to oops. God, fell apart on me. I just wanted to talk about pelvic floors just a little bit, and just to give you a visual of their, oh, this goes back together. So I suppose I really want you to understand the size of the pelvic floors, and I want you to understand the importance of them. So if you look into the pelvis, okay, if you look in, you can see that the pelvic floors, they almost act like a nest. So you can see how inside is lovely and snug, and everything just sits in there nice and tightly. And if we look at the back of the pelvis, okay, we can see that our pelvis is totally, it's like a ball of muscle. It's like a you know, when you get these, if you take a slitter apart and you see loads and loads of layers of elastic, it's the same thing. There's layer upon layer of muscles. So our pelvis is a hugely strong joint. I wanted to show you the undercarriage, so to speak. Okay, so we were speaking earlier about doing muscles for the front, so doing the sucking up the straw up the front. Okay, and as you can see here, the front and the back are totally differentiated by 2 different types of muscles. So that's why when we just do one full pelvic floor stretch, we're not really, or one pelvic floor exercise, we're not really working the front, or we're not really working the back. So we need, because they're 2 different muscles and the muscles go in different directions, we have to do the front and the back separately. one of the things, so as you can see now, right, with all these muscles attach to the bones on both sides, and they also attach to the front and the back. So when we have weak muscles, okay, so if we had a hard delivery, or if we had stitches, or if we had a tear, I suppose we can get quite fearful of working that area. If we have weak muscles get tight. So if you look at these muscles here, so if these muscles get weak and tight, well then if I go to the back instead, so if muscles get weak and tight, what they can do is they can pull on the joints. So you can get like low back pain, or you can get pelvic pain, or if we look here to the side of the pelvis, our big hip muscles are very attached to the pelvic floor, and they come out the side. So if you have hip pain, it could be related to your pelvic floor muscles as well. Okay, so that's why I'm always saying, no matter what happens, go back to your pelvic floors. The other thing as well that I wanted you to take home was, I wanted you to take home and practice it yourself, closing your eyes and feeling that when you do a big deep breath in and out, right, these muscles open, not open and close, but they kind of lengthen and shorten and lengthen and shorten. So every time that you do lovely big soft breaths, these muscles automatically get a workout. So if you're tense, if you're working up into your shoulders, or you're breathing into your armpits, these muscles are not getting that that workout all the time. So you need to be breathing to keep your pelvic floor muscles nice and healthy. Well, of course you need to be breathing, but you need to be breathing deeply to get your pelvic floor muscles helping. The other points that I really wanted to get across, and I know it's something that we don't talk about, okay? If you had all your boat, you know, when you're out with your friends, right? And if all the kayaks are lined up, or your paddles are lined up, so if your kayaks are there, or even your shoes or your kids' hurleys or whatever, you're always able to pick up your own boat in a lineup, irrespective of what shape it's in, okay? And we need to be the same with our pelvic floors. We need to know our floor, and we need to be able to pick up our undercarriage in a lineup as well. So as women, we get changes over the years, we get changes in shape, we get changes in color, and we get changes in everything, okay? But very often, because we aren't aware of what our floor normally looks like, we don't know when there's changes. So you know how we're encouraged to check our breasts every month. It's really important that you know your floor, you take a peep at your floor as well, because just like in your skin, and just like you know, in different areas in the body, you can get redness, you can get discoloration, you can get changes in shape, you can get tightness, you can get spots. And if you're not looking, and if you don't know what your normal is, well then how are you going to know what abnormal is? So I know it's probably an uncomfortable topic for some people, and I am aware there may be sensitivities, but if you can in any way, I'm not saying like the moles where you take pictures, just every so often have a peep, know what it looks like, know what the color is, and just if you ever have anything that looks different, get it checked out. It is really, really important. So yeah, know your floor, be able to pick yourself out in the lineup. Okay, it's a bit crude, but it has to be said.
No, and I think that that's a really good point, because, well, I'll talk on a personal point of view. I never understood what my pelvic floor was until I gave birth, really. and then as an athlete, I had no choice to then understand what it was. But I wish that awareness had started sooner, because, well, I try to explain to people your core, it's like a cylinder. So people often focus on the front part, just the tummy muscles, but it's the tummy, it's the pelvic floor, it's the back, and it's, as you say, that lower rib cage. And all of that needs to connect and function together to have an efficient core. And once you have an efficient core, then every other movement becomes easier, and becomes everything in a boat becomes easier as well. So maybe, did you want to add something else, Amy? Because we've already got a question in the question box, or did you want to do another point?
No, you asked a question. I just wanted to talk a little bit about prolapses, and just the effective breath, and the effective lifting and moving, and how that can bring on a prolapse. But
our question actually kind of really kicks into this. So is it okay returning to sport and running after a baby? So we're getting very much into that.
Yes, so I I suppose yes to running and getting back to sport after a baby. I suppose with getting back to sport after a baby, there's an awful lot of changes that happen. And one of the key things with getting back to sport or getting back to running after a baby is your pelvic floors. So you need to be able to control your pelvic floor. One of the things that we recommend to women getting back to sport after running is actually like pelvic support. So even the things called EVB shorts, and these are like bicycle shorts, and they're engineered with a lovely sling that goes from the back, under the front, and up to the tummy. So what it does is it just picks up everything and it pulls it in and it gives it support. So any mum that's going back to running or going back to sport, even like wearing like you know, like the Spanx Snickers that you get in pennies or get in Duns, even wearing those for the first couple of months going back to running and sport just helps everything to stay in. So there's a test. If you want to go back to running or go back to an exercise after having a baby, you have to be able to do 10 single leg stands. Okay, well, 10, you'll be able to see my face here now, okay? But you need to be able to do, 20 heel raises, okay? You need to be able to do 20 knee bends, and you need to be able to do 20 hops. And if you can do 20 heel raises, 20 knee bends, and 20 single leg squats without leaking or without pain, then you're good to get back to running. So that's the kind of bend bottom park. Yeah, well, most people go back before that.
Yeah, and I think it's quite difficult that, well, during pregnancy your body changes massively. I remember felt like I was taken hostage. I was like, this is my body, what's going on here? And there's so much change, and then in the aftermath there's a lot of change as well. And I quite like that bit around, for every month that your body changed in pregnancy, you need that almost on the other side, and to be kind and gentle with yourself in the process. And I think trying to compare to what was is not a good way to go. It's kind of, this is where I'm at, and slowly you take care of your body, and you've got the demand of the baby at the same time. So we've got a lot going on there. But the exercise definitely helps mood and everything else. So it's finding something that's working. I just put in the chat there the EVB shorts. So really they're compression shorts, aren't they, Amy? Is that?
Yeah, they're more that they're engineered with a sling. So what they do is they just pick up the pelvic floor so that when you run, that they keep the support up. But they're actually an Irish company. They're made by an engineer in Dublin, but they're sold all over the world. They're the standard go-to. I suppose the other thing as well is that I suppose we kind of have a habit of people with pregnancy that we kind of mind them. But we should be getting them stronger throughout pregnancy, because the minute you have your baby, you're putting buggies in the boot, you're putting kids in cots, you're carrying shopping and a baby, you know? So as pregnancy goes on, we need to be getting ladies doing arm weights. We need to be getting them doing squats. We don't want them, it's okay, don't make me when you're pregnant, but we need women to be actually getting stronger during pregnancy and not sitting on the couch more. So because the postnatal period is such a heavy time, especially if you have a toddler at home and a new baby, you're putting an awful stress on yourself, you know. So yeah, don't slow down, speed up.
That's going to bring on some quite good questions. So someone asking, what is a prolapse? So that's probably quite a good question. Everybody knows that.
Okay, so I have my model here, but one of the poor male physios was trying to put it together today. It fell apart, and God love him, he didn't have much success. Okay, so if we look here, okay, take it apart, might be better. Okay, so sitting inside my pelvis, okay, I have my okay, ignore my anatomy here. I have my bladder, I have my uterus, and then I have my bowel at the back, okay? So all those three sit in nice and snug, okay? So again, I have my openings at the bottom, I have my bladder opening, I have my vagina here, and I have my bowel opening at the back, okay? So then what happens then is sitting on top of all that is all of our tummy and our lungs, okay? So I suppose what happens is that over time, can you see that? Yeah. So what happens is that over time, I suppose, we have the pressure of lifting and the pressure of everything bearing down. So a prolapse, I suppose, really is when the pressure from the uterus can come down and cause a little bit of pressure coming down the vaginal wall. Okay, so this is the prolapse, and then at the back, what can happen is that we can have a little invagulation here at the back, and we call that a rectocele. Okay, and at the front, then down here, we can call it a cystocele, where again pressure just causes a little kink here coming in at the front. Okay, so it can happen for lots of reasons. It can happen because of weak pelvic floors. It can happen because of constipation, because if we're constipated all the time, and if we're pushing down, what we do is we can put the pressure down. I just want you to try something there, everybody, okay? So I want you to, again, you can, I was going to say you can close your eyes, but you're at home, so it's fine. When we're doing the exercises there, I was telling you not to hold your breath, okay? So I want you to just try a few things with me, okay? So when I was showing you the pelvic floor earlier, I was showing you that it was like a little nest and that everything was snug inside. So when you lift your pelvic floors and when you draw on your tummy, what it does is it wraps your everything inside, and it keeps it nice and tight. If our pelvic floor muscles are weak, or if our tummy muscles are weak, right, what we do is to compensate for it, you know, if you're picking up the shopping, you take a big deep breath in and then you pick up the shopping. So when you take a big deep breath in, you fill your lungs with air. And when you fill your lungs with air, this pushes on your uterus, which pushes all the way down on your bladder and on your pelvic floor. Okay, so instead of your pelvic floor lifting and the tummy muscles acting like the nest to hold everything in place, by holding your breath, you are pushing everything down. Yeah, so this is why when you go to lift, we call it the brace or the knack. You breathe in, and as you exhale, remember to start, when you exhale, you draw on your tummy and pelvic floor, and that supports everything, lifts up everything here. Whereas if we hold our breath, what we do is we push down instead. Okay, so I'm not sure if that's making sense and I'm waffling, but what I'm trying to say is that if we have weak pelvic floor, if we have weak tummy, we compensate because we're so busy by holding our breath. And if we hold our breath all the time, what we're doing is we're acting like a Coke can, and then we just put the pressure down here instead. So that's what a prolapse is. But also, if we're constipated, we're constantly pushing down, so we're constantly pushing downward pressure down. So we can push in a way that we can do our bowel in a way that pushes, focusing on just the bowel, or we can push incorrectly, and that pushes everything down on the uterus, which pushes down on our pelvic floor. So just try this with me now, okay? So I want you to take a big deep breath in. Okay, and I want you to imagine you're doing a big bowel movement and push down and feel your air inflate and push everything from your belly button down, okay? And now I want you to breathe in, and as you exhale out, I want you to imagine that you're just pushing down through your back passage, and your tummy feels an awful lot softer. Another way is imagine that you're just that you're breathing into your armpits. Breathe into your armpits, and now push down your back passage, and you feel your whole pressure pushing down. And now just relax the tummy and just push down through your back passage. The second thing is suppose as women, as we get to the menopause, we will have laxity around the structures that keep everything suspended. So that's why the tummy, the pelvic floor, is so important as you approach menopause. The other thing about it is if you look at the back passage, there's a bend in it, okay? So with the way that, if you think back to other cultures, they squatted, and when they squatted, because of their knee and hip position, they put the passage in a straight line. But because we are sitting with our knees, I suppose, in tabletop position, what we do is we have a bend in our back passage. So as women, we need to be doing what they call in America a squatty potty. So getting, like in the old telephone directory days, putting 2 or 3 telephone directories up beside the loo, or even if you had toddlers that you were toilet training, and putting the little stools and putting your feet up on it. And what that does is it brings your knees up and it puts the bowel in a straight down position. So even doing small things like that really help with prolapse, and they really help with you giving protection to your pelvic floor. So very often, if you've had a heavy day and if you feel a heaviness down below, just lie down and put your feet up in the air. Very often you might feel it if you've had a coughing spell, or if you've had a very bad cold or a flu. So I suppose with prolapses, prevention is better than cure. So again, going back to your breathing, doing lots of work on your not holding tension in your pelvic floors, making sure that you're getting your breath to keep everything going. Look at your defecation position, so putting your knees up on a little that size stool, and when you are bearing, just trying to just do a soft push out through your back passage and not a big inflated pushing down. Does that make sense, or was that a bit too?
No, it's very complete. Now another question. I had 2 C-sections and only coming back to fitness and paddling 10 years on. Would my inner muscles ever get strong again?
Absolutely, and it's really important to get your inner muscles strong. So I suppose if your inner muscles are like a section, it's like it's hard going, fair play. They will, but so the lady there who had the section, keep it simple, right? So get back to doing the breath, get back to doing the and what's really important is doing those pelvic clocks where you're just working really deeply and just getting the deep inner muscles going, and doing like the roulette where you're getting the wheel. It's never too late. It's never too late. That's the one really good thing with muscles, is that muscles are the one thing that we can build until the day we die. I suppose another thing as well is that we lose 1% of our muscle mass every year as part of the normal aging process. So by the time we get to 50, we can have lost about 38% of our muscle mass. So if we have had abdominal surgery, or if we had an accident or an illness, we have normal age-related aging on top of where we may have had surgery. So that's why it's so important that you have that something that you do that stops that 1% decline, but also gives you an opportunity to go fast, to go stronger. And this gets back to around the time of the menopause, and it goes back to teen health as well, and it comes back to our bone health. That because we're naturally losing our muscle mass is a great sugar sink. So we need to keep our muscle bulk strong in terms of diabetes prevention and in terms of cardiovascular health. But also as women, in terms of our bone health, we do need to be doing weights. We do need to be doing 2 and 3 pound dumbbells, because we do need to be putting weight into our bones. We need to be keeping our muscles strong. So I suppose the bone health has become a very big issue because of teenagers. So when I was initially training, we were told that you built bone until you were 35, and then you held it until the menopause. But now what we're knowing with teen health and with teens is that with teenage girls, between initial breast development and between their first period, how active they are then determines the template for their bone strength for their life. Okay, so we know that girls are getting their periods earlier, and but with lads it's different. So if you think back to your youth, Hannah, you were probably running and jumping and being thrown off things by your siblings, whereas if we look now at our girls, they are a little bit more sedentary. So our template for our bones is determined at quite a young age, and it's happening at an age where girls are stopped doing sports, they're starting to be body conscious, they're starting to maybe go on the fizzy drinks as well. So I think if you have any daughters, nieces, nephews, they need to be out running, you know, at that crucial period. So we build up our bone strength as we go on in life, okay? And then it's like a bank, okay? And then around the time of the menopause, then because of hormonal changes, okay, our female hormones are fat dependent. They live in our fat, okay? So around the time of the menopause, we are given fat stores around our middle. This is my excuse now. And the hormones are stored in our fat stores around our middle. So it's really important as women around the time of the menopause, when you do get this weight gain, that if you do want to lose the weight, that you have to lose it really slowly, a pound maximum a week. If you lose the weight too fast, the body can't adapt and your estrogen and your hormones ends up in the septic tank. So it's really important that, you know, we keep our girls really active, first of all, but second of all, that we accept fat and weight gain around our middle years. I know it's not healthy, and I suppose get out of the way of saying to someone, God, you lost loads of weight, aren't you great? We should be saying, is your, you know, you're putting your calcium down the septic tank, like, you know, hold on a second, girl. So around our midlife, we need to be building our muscle strength. We need to be doing our pelvic floors. We need to be having very slow weight loss if we do want to lose weight, to give our body time to adapt. And we need to be doing weight-bearing exercises as well. Sorry, did I deviate there? It was a verbal vomit, I think.
No, there's loads coming. It's so helpful. Next question. Do you have any suggestions for pain around the tailbone when sitting in kayak for a couple of hours?
Maybe start open boating. Yeah, I suppose, again, if we look at our tailbone, okay, I shouldn't have laughed at your man for not putting it back together today. Which bit goes first? Oh yeah, there we go. Does that look right? I suppose if we look at our tailbone, like, look at how many muscles are attached to it. Like, there is so much going on. Like, you've got your pelvic floors, and if we look here, there are big hip muscles coming all the way in at the back of it. Like, if we look inside of the tailbone, like, you can see inside as well how many muscles are attached. So I suppose if there was any way that you could even, I suppose, that exercise that we did at the end, the roll down, you know, where you're coming onto your tailbone and coming up off your tailbone. And I suppose because of the position that your hips are in as well, it's going to be tight on the tailbone. So maybe try the big deep breaths, try doing your pelvic floor exercise, even if you can. That's actually a really important thing, that when we fit out our boats, but when we have our, now Hannah, you might disagree with this, but when we have our feet on the foot bar, that we need to have our feet almost like boxers' feet, so that when we move, that we can actually get movement up our leg, that we don't want our feet to be too rigid, so that we're totally stuck in the boat. We need to have a little bit of movement so that we can actually get circulation going, because it's not natural to sit in a boat for 3 hours. Like, if you were sitting on your comfy sofa, you'd probably get it as well. So I would say I would not be as rigid in my outfit. I would be softer. I probably would be softer at the hips as well, just to allow movement and to get the legs circulating and to take the pressure off all the structures. There are so many muscles there. Muscles need movement. Muscles need a blood supply. If you don't move, you don't get the blood supply in. So yeah, there's no quick fix.
I agree on the fitting out of the boat. Too tight fitting is not healthy. And then often there's an overall hip mobility element, and the piriformis being in that shortened position for such a long time.
I have a piriformis. The piriformis here, it's called piriformis. It's Latin for pear shape. Okay. And just like Hannah said there, the piriformis, what it does is it comes from the inside. See all these nerves here? The piriformis, it sits between layers of nerves. These are all the muscles that come down your back leg. So if this piriformis, which is really prone to getting tight, and this piriformis gets tight if you have weak glute muscles. So if this muscle gets tight, it pulls all the way through the bone from the outside to the inside. In 1/3 of the population, the piriformis, the sciatic nerve comes through the piriformis. So if your piriformis gets tight, it's going to squeeze on the nerve. So if you're one of the 1/3 that has the piriformis, the sciatic nerve through the piriformis, you are going to get that hip pain. So there's a lovely exercise for the piriformis stretch, and it's just called Rock the Baby. You're sitting there, and it's actually really nice, and it's just right hand, left hip, wrap the hand around the knee, and you just rock the baby, and that just stretches deep into the piriformis.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I think that bit about weak glutes, a lot of paddlers are guilty of having really weak glutes, because when you're in that sitting position, people tend to disconnect the glute instead of activate it to help with stability. So yeah.
And then hip flexor muscles kick in instead, the ones at the front, and these cause back pain, and these are the ones that can compensate if we have weak pelvic floors as well. So yeah, they can give you back pain if you're sitting for too long. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think your point at the beginning, why not shift up and boat, like changing boats can be interesting just in a skill development point of view, but also changing those positions. If you're in an open canoe, you're taking pressure off the piriformis and the hip. Another question, I had 2 bladder repairs over the last 10 to 15 years, and now I'm back again to leaking. Can the exercises help without a 3rd bladder repair?
But I would say go to someone and get the muscles checked out. There's nothing for something like that where there has been surgery. I would say things have moved on an awful lot in terms of suppose muscle stimulation machines and biofeedback and stuff. So I would say in that case, I would say knock on every door and find a really good women's health physio. And that's the other thing. Don't be afraid of getting your muscles looked at. You know what? Yeah, just get them looked at. There's no shame in it. I mean, it's like you've seen it. It's a ball of muscles. It's just muscles. And if you have problems with your neck muscles, you get it seen to. If you have problems with your back muscles, you get it seen to. And like, there's so many muscles there. Like I suppose, think that there's only one function of the pelvic floor. But it's such a foundation for the whole body. Like any of these muscles in here can get tense. And like I said, if a muscle is weak, it gets tense. And if it gets tense, then it gets trigger points in it, just like we get in our shoulder. So get the muscles seen to. It works wonders for back pain, for hip pain. And that's whether you've had children or not. And what's actually amazing is that what they're looking at doing in CUMH is that they're actually looking at checking pelvic floors before women have delivered, because if you have tightness, so working on like the trigger points and getting the muscles stretched beforehand, because with our lifestyle, we're more sedentary and everything at the moment. So to that lady, I would say find a physio, get your muscles checked out, and do those exercises really gently. Watch your breath and work on your tummy. And yes, look at your bowel position as well.
Brilliant. Someone else, I have to log out here, need to go eat dinner. Yeah, hungry too. Great session, should be an essential part of the entry level training for any woman taking part in the Bridging the Gap level 1, level 2 course. Wish I'd done it much sooner. Anyway, many thanks to Amy and all who organized. Yeah, like again, as we said at the beginning, the resource is going to be online. Spread the word, send people back. Obviously, Amy's given a lot of information today, so we probably need to digest it, revisit some of it, and go back and forth. Is there anything you want to add on that, Amy?
know your undercarriage, you know your boat's undercarriage, you know if you've new scratches, you know if somebody's taken it over a rock. So know your own undercarriage as much as you know your boat. And if in doubt, smile. Happy face.
Some more just excellent exercise routine. Can't wait until it's on YouTube so we can practice regularly. Brilliant. Thanks so much. Thanks very much, Amy and Hannah. Now we've got, I can really recommend Bioidentical HRT. Started about a year ago and it's brilliant all round, including a tiny bit of testosterone, which works wonders for your muscles. Do you want to give a little bit of explanation on that, Amy?
Do you know what? It's not my area of expertise, but I think that lady has obviously had a really good chat with her GP and has a GP that's really understanding. And that's the other thing. If you don't talk about it, it's not going to help. I mean, there's amazing products on the market. I think there's a product called Femme, which every woman should be on over a certain age. Put it this way, if you could put it on your face, you'd have skin to die for, you know. So like, talk to your GP and don't let things fester. The earlier you do things, the better, especially when it does, like when I was saying earlier about checking, you know, your pelvic floor. Like, we will get age-related changes as we get on, but those age-related changes, you don't have to, I suppose, for a long time we accepted an awful lot of changes as being part of midlife, but now, like, there's the HRT, there is the Femme, there are hormone creams. Like, there is no, what I'm saying is that talk to your GP. If any symptom that you have, there's something for it. You need to get the conversation going early and not waiting is something too late. Because if you nip something in the bud, you know, it's a lot easier than down the line. So talk to your GP early. The first sign of, I don't know, say maybe tightness during intercourse, pain during intercourse, increased in dryness, go to your GP. That's what they're there for. And there is a solution to most problems. So don't let things fester, you know. I suppose, you know, like I think 1 in 3 women after they have children have pain with intercourse, and an awful lot of couples just accept it and they do nothing about it. But it's one of those things that you need to have the conversation. You need to find a women's health physio or talk to your GP, because it's much easier to get on the path early and to find a solution than, you know, being upset about it and not wanting to talk about it, and the ripple effects and the consequences and the quality of life. So when it comes to anything with your pelvic floor, don't let it fester. Just deal with it. Nobody's going to be embarrassed, you know. Just suck it up and make the phone call and make the appointment, because there is solutions to every problem. It might take a while, it might be knocking on a few doors, but just start having the conversation, and do have the conversation with your girlfriends as well, because you would be very surprised what goes on with other people. Like 1 in 3 is a shocking statistic, you know, when you think of like young mums setting out on their journey. So like, have the conversation, and it shouldn't be a taboo topic. It should be something that we all talk about.
Brilliant. So, just on that, someone has asked, what is the name of the product that every woman over a certain age should be on? Hard of hearing, thanks. Sorry.
Oh, Femme.
Okay, we'll let you Google that one. Then just compliments, brilliant session, thanks. Friend of yours saying, won't look at you smiling in the same way again. Thanks very much, Amy and Hannah. Great session. Totally agree with Amy. Keep going while pregnant. Had great support from Amy and West Cork Kayak Club via Ladies That Lunch program. Managed to keep kayaking until 8 months pregnant. Thanks, Sinead.
Oh, baby Alex.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, no, I said her name because she had written it down. Sorry.
Oh, no, oh no, that he's our baby. He's our. Oh, happy to meet Sinead soon. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, just wrapping up. maybe what we were saying earlier on, so there's obviously a lot of information tonight. You will be able to access it again. I think one of the main things I take away, and it's something that was helped me, is that little and often. So don't try and solve it all in one go and go, I have to do this, have to do that. Is if you can consistently do it, will have the biggest effect. We've obviously dedicated an hour and 45 now to the subject. It's a really important subject, but then it's how do you integrate that into your everyday life and find the little habits you can add, which over time will benefit you. And yeah, the video resource will be there. Amy's been very generous with her time on the other workshops. What she also did is she sent a form afterwards with the exercises on it. So once I get that, I'll send it out to people. That's another great resource to have. And we're so fortunate to have Amy tonight, opening up this subject, because it is a gap. There is a gender gap here on the understanding of this and understanding of women's body, and how we bring that into our practice of paddling to make sure we have many years where we can get out on the water and have a positive experience.